Hello everyone, myself Prathemesh Malgunde and my group member is Prathemesh Korude. So we are presenting our optional activity number 8 and 13, which is comparison between various resins which used in resin caster transformer. So we know that there are two types of transformer. One is dry type and second is oil transformer. So in oil transformer we used oil as an insulating material, and in dry type transformer we used casted resin as an insulating material. So this is the resin casted transformer in which core is surrounded by casted resin. So let's see comparison between epoxy resin and polyester resin. This is the comparison chart between both resin. Let's see one by one. So polymerization, it is the process to create polymers, and it is used to make various kinds of plastics products. So epoxy resin is made by condensation polymerization, whereas polyester resin is made by free radical polymerization. These are the structures of epoxy resin and polyester resin. So next is bonding strength. So first of all, bonding strength is a strength with which a chemical bond holds two atoms together. So epoxy resin has high bonding capabilities. And epoxy's relative strength can hold up to 2000 pounds per square inch, whereas polyester resin can hold less than 500 pounds per square inch. So basically the bonding strength of polyester resin is less than epoxy resin. Next is resistance to wear. So epoxy is more resistant to wearing, cracking and peeling and corrosion or damage from chemical or environmental degradation, and whereas polyester resin is more fragile than epoxy resin, and that's why it is useful for temporary fixes or low stress uses. Next is cost comparison. So epoxy resin is more expensive as compared to polyester resin. Next point is resistance to moisture. So epoxy is good moisture resistant, whereas polyester resin has minor resistance to moisture and is considered water permeable and can fracture easily.
Next point, shelf life. Shelf life means the period of time during which a material may be stored and remain suitable for use. Epoxy resin have a much longer shelf life, and polyester resin much more fragile over time. Next point, adhesive properties. Epoxy resin have adhesive properties, and polyester resin do not have adhesive properties. Next point, shrinkage. Shrinkage means the ability of dissimilar molecules to stick together. Epoxy resin have low shrinkage is low, and polyester resin have shrinkage is high. Next, environmental durability. Environmental durability means they undergo only slow degradation in landfill condition. Environmental durability of epoxy resin is high, and environmental durability of polyester resin is low. Next point, application. Application of epoxy resin are more likely to be used in high thermal application, and it is used in lamination, impregnation, floor coating material. Application of polyester resin are less likely to be used in higher thermal application and also used in industrial application, steel molding compound and bulk molding compound and resin casting. Next point, toxicity. Toxicity means the ability to cause harmful effect. Epoxy resin is less toxic, and polyester resin is highly toxic.